Good evening, everybody.
Yep, good evening. I'm coming to you remotely this week, a little different for us.
Yeah, y'all might notice slight different sound in Bobby Lee's voice, and he's coasting it up next to the ocean.
Yeah, man, we're right out here. As we sit here, it's dark, so I really can't see much, but I'm sitting right out here looking over the Gulf, just enjoying a little family time, basically.
I hear you. Is the beach still messed up?
As far as like the riptides and all that were kind of in the news the last few weeks.
Yeah.
No, we have had actually pretty good water. We actually did not go down on the beach today. Today, we're sitting here recording on Thursday night. But we've been in the water, I guess, the last 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I think maybe yellow flags flying. But apparently for the last few weeks, we've had like double reds, which is like you're not allowed in the water because the riptides and a lot of people drown. But now, thankfully, we have not had that to deal with.
Yeah, I had seen some crazy pictures of the beach, like, looked weird. Like it had like eaten out several spots. Like it was real wavy, like the sand.
Yeah, I think I might have seen some of those same things. No, it's been pretty normal for us. Water's real clean. We hadn't had a lot of jellyfish or anything like that to deal with or anything. It's been pretty pleasant. It's hot, which I was going to ask you, has it rained any since I've left?
I hate to tell you the answer to that.
We'll see. I kind of know because I've been checking my apps and all on the rain total. The other couple that we're sharing a condo with down here, they're actually from Fayette County, which, of course, for people outside of our immediate area listening to us, they're just one county like south and east of us.
Yeah.
And he got an alert yesterday. He's like, severe weather warning, for home. And I immediately pulled up, was looking at the radar at home, and I was expletives were flying. It's like, it's splitting us.
Yeah.
Like it split us. Like which I've seen it happen 100 times, but I was watching on radar. I was like, cause it was red, and I was like, I don't want severe weather, but right as it was getting to us, it just kind of split, and it was like light green.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, that's exactly how it's been. And actually,
there's been good rain chances every day, right?
Oh yeah, the worst was we had a 100% chance. Let's see, when was the 4th? Was that Tuesday? Yeah. All right, so Tuesday, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was Tuesday night. We had a 100% chance of rain. And my phone actually said a 100% chance of 2 to 3 inches. And I was like, man, I said, that'd be great. And yeah,
we'll go back even further. So Saturday was, because we left to come down here on Sunday. Saturday, I was filming for YouTube for Hurricane Creek Farms channel. And I immediately started that video Saturday morning because it was like a 40% chance of rain or something. And I said, I'm going to go ahead and predict what's going to happen. I was like, come this afternoon, it's going to get cloudy. It's going to get dark. It's going to look like it's going to rain. The wind's going to blow, and it's going to miss us. Well, it didn't even wait till Saturday afternoon. It happened Saturday morning. It started thundering, and my phone went from like 40% that morning to 100%. And I was like, that just pisses me off when it says 100% chance of rain. Yeah. There's never a 100% chance.
Yeah.
Like, if it better be hitting the ground if you're telling me it's 100%, and it never rained a drop.
Yeah.
I spent all day Saturday outside getting chores done before we left to come out of town. I was so mad. I was like, why do they? But I knew it. In a way, I was happy because I was like, look here. I told y'all exactly what was going to happen. Like, I'm the greatest weatherman that has ever existed. I knew exactly how this was going to go. But, I had a feeling. I've been checking my little rain gauge app, and it was telling me we got 5/100ths of an inch. I was like, yeah, that's not even a heavy dew.
No, yeah. I was trying to remain optimistic, Because Dad, he was like, it ain't going to rain. Like when I was, because we were going to shoot fireworks at their house. We had gone over there for dinner. And Dad he was like, it's not going to rain. It ain't going to rain. And I said, it says a 100% chance that it's going to rain. Like that.
But that makes me even more pessimistic because of what I just said. It's like, there's never, like nothing is 100%. Like,
I agree.
I mean, that's just like no. Like that's their algorithm or whatever that spits those numbers out for the app is just like having a malfunction, or something. Like I don't know how all that works, but like this is just stupid.
Well, the chances there was an 80% chance for Saturday. Last I looked, it was down to 70.
Well, I saw that too because we're kind of looking at when are we coming back.
Yeah.
Because I think actually we have this condo rented like through Saturday night. We don't have to check out till like 11 a.m. on Sunday. But in my mind, I'm like, well, if it ain't going to rain, like I got some hay that's going to need to be cut. I'm like, I'm going to cut some hay on Sunday. So let's go on back on Saturday. Which, I mean, you know how that is having a wife. It's going to come down to really what she wants to do.
Well, I think she wants to stay till Sunday.
Well, yeah, no, you're right. You were in a group message with her. Well, and a lot of it depends on the softball team, too. We actually just started playing today, and the girls actually won. They played 2 games today. We went 2-0. So,
nice.
Yeah, this may all be a moot point. If we're winning, we'll be playing. I mean, we could potentially be playing until late Saturday afternoon, which I hate to tell them. I'm like, if we don't come home on Saturday, we're getting up. We're going to be on the road well before daylight on Sunday, which that'll go over like a lead balloon with my family. But like even if I don't cut any hay on Sunday, I was like, I got to get back and get some stuff done before I go back to work on Monday.
Yeah, that's when we went to the beach. That was, we left at 3 a.m. and to come back. And
no, there will be no chance of me doing that. Like I will literally have a divorce if I try to pull something like that. But kind of my strategy is, and again, a lot of this, I mean, I hope the girls win tomorrow and we're still playing on Saturday. Again, we're recording on Thursday night, so talking about playing on Friday. My whole thing is, all right, let's leave on Saturday. We ain't got to leave super early, like as long as we're on the road, even if it's by noon. I mean, it's like a 7-hour drive,
Yeah.
Whatever. I'd rather leave earlier than that, but that'll be my compromise. We'll get home Saturday evening just before dark. Or if y'all want to wait and leave on Sunday, all right, we're leaving at like 5 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
No, I was going to actually, 3 was like the compromise for me because we went and ate dinner that night, I remember, and I told Marcy, I said, I think we're going to leave tonight. I was like, I think we're just going to eat dinner, then we're going to load up, and we're going to drive on home, drive through the night. And, I've said before, like, I don't sleep very good when I travel. And, I had slept okay the whole time. Well, then when I knew I needed to sleep, so, I was feeling pretty tired after we ate dinner. So I was like, I said, I need to go try to sleep for just a couple hours. And I said, and then we'll leave at like 12. And we get to the hotel or the condo, and I tried to sleep, and I ended up just tossing and turning and it was literally midnight. And I at that point I was like, I don't think it'd be very safe for me to get on the road right now. So I remember like texting Marcy, and I told her at that point, I said, I'll just wake you up when it's time to go. I said, I got to try to sleep. I laid there till like 3 a.m. And then, or till probably 2 something. I never went to sleep. And so finally I was like, all right, well, screw it if I ain't going to sleep. And, man, tell you what, I don't remember what time it was. We struck out about 3 o'clock and I was so freaking tired. I was getting to the point where I was like, I'm about to have to pull over and try to just sleep for just a little bit. And luckily it worked out. The sun, I was just waiting on the sun to come up because it was driving in the dark makes me tired.
Oh, dude. You know, the few times I've driven across the country, that's the worst. Like between well, about what you said, between like 3 and like, well, it depends on time of year, but like 3 a.m. and when it gets daylight, like those last, 2 or 3 hours, you're just like, just come on. If the sun can ever come up, I'll be good to go.
Yeah.
And you are. It's just like it's like a total burst of energy.
Oh, it was complete change. Yeah. Like I mean, which I did finally, it was probably 5:30 or 5:30 or 6 o'clock, one of them. It was not really daylight yet. And we went to the beach, I guess in March time frame, I think it was. It was still kind of cool in the water. But, man, I whipped into a gas station and I got me a cup of coffee. And I even bought some of those grinds, dip like coffee pouches. And I was dipping those and drinking coffee. And I was actually, I probably look like a moron because I think I even started doing jumping jacks like behind the car just to try to get moving. And then I got in the car and was driving. And then as soon as the sun came up, it was a complete change. Like I was good to go all day at that point. But yeah, that last stretch, and it made me think, I was like, man, if I had left at like 9 o'clock at night, I think we'd had to pull over. I'd have fallen asleep. Like, I don't think I could have done it.
Right. Well, yeah, because I'm trying to do the math. Yeah, you ought to have been home before daylight. Or, yeah, you'd have been home. Was like a 7-hour drive from here. So you've been home by like 4 a.m. So
yeah.
4 or 5. But, man, I have not had trouble sleeping. I feel like I've caught up on sleep. Of course, it's a terrible week to come to the beach. I'm like, I hate that it was this week, a holiday week. It's awesome to have the holiday week off, but it was so crowded. Like Monday night, we didn't even eat. We were trying to get in somewhere to eat, trying. It was finally, we settled for somewhere. We actually put our name on the list at one place and went to like several others. And then finally that place called us. It was 10:30. We got sat down. So
10:30 at night.
Yeah. Which Monday we were getting checked in. We left on Sunday, but we stayed with my in-laws or my brother-in-law Sunday night. And Monday we couldn't even get checked into our condo till like 4. And like by the time we got settled in, the kids wanted to go to the beach. It was late by the time we got cleaned up and ready for dinner anyway. But anyway, so Tuesday, of course, it was the 4th. We did nothing but just hang out, go to the beach. Consumed quite a few adult beverages, and we had already decided that like we're going to go to eat early, and so we did. We went to eat at like 4:30.
Thank you pulling a Robert dinner there.
Yeah, well, and we're right here at the Floribama. Like we are literally like if I go out on my balcony right now, I'll be able to hear the band playing.
Are you in the Phoenix 10?
We're in the Phoenix 10.
All right, yeah, I've stayed there. Yep.
So we walked across the street to the Floribama Yacht Club. I ate at like 4:30. We got back to the condo. I was asleep, I think, at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night. Fireworks, like none of that. Like I slept, which worked out good because me and my son Willis, we got up and went and met some other guys from our softball team and fished the next morning. So we had to get up early. But yeah, I feel like I've caught up on sleep. Unless I'd have to do the math. Yeah, I got like 10 hours of sleep that night.
Yeah. Well, dang. Well, yeah, you'll feel rejuvenated coming back.
Well, I did. It was kind of weird. And this was another time my wife probably wanted. Which was it last week? We met our wives mad by talking about how they drove.
Mm-hmm.
So I wake up at like midnight, which of course I've been asleep for like 5 hours. I'm like, where's my wife? Like, I'm in bed by myself. And like, this other couple, they're fun. We're having a good time. Like, maybe they're still up and, having a good time. It's 4th of July. I'm like, no, like, the condo's like dead. So I call my wife's phone and it's ringing. It's just like sitting there on our table, like in the kitchen. Like, what the hell? I go out on the balcony, and she is asleep on the couch on our balcony. I'm like, what in the world? And I wake her up. Of course, my wife's one of those, like, when you wake her up, like, in the middle of the night like that, like, she'll start, like, speaking gibberish, like it's not even real words.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, you okay? It's like, I'm going back to bed. But I guess she got up at some point and came back to bed. But it was just like.
So she was asleep outside.
Well, I got talking to the other couple the next day, and I'm like, yeah, I think they had even more fun after I went to bed in terms of
some beverages
and just, which I felt bad. Kim's like, you're so antisocial. I'm like, I'm not. I'm just like, we've been drinking on the beach all day. We went and ate. I was like, we got back to the condo, and I like lay down on bed for a second. Next thing I knew, it was midnight.
Yeah, they're like waiting on you to show back up.
Oh, they knew better. But which again, because we're right next to the Floribama. I think the Floribama had a fireworks show. They're like, we can't believe you slept through all that. I was like, no. I was like, I can sleep through some stuff. So, but anyway, yeah, it's been a good trip so far. Had a good day on the softball field today. The real tournament starts tomorrow. So,
well, good deal.
That's what we're down here for. We'll see how these girls do.
Well, good deal. Good deal. Well, that, for our listeners there, yeah, this is one episode. You can go to the YouTube and obviously hit that like button, hit subscribe. There will be no video for this one because Bobby Lee is at the beach and the phone's internet service is not real great. So, no video for this one. But hey,
yeah, it's disappointing because the Wi-Fi, like we've got a Wi-Fi like here, it's for our actual condo unit, and it's terrible. Like all week, I've just been cutting my Wi-Fi off because I'll just try to open Instagram and like it won't even pull anything up.
Dang.
And then all I've got to do is cut off my Wi-Fi and go just to cell service, and I can do whatever I need to do. But yeah, that's on me and on the Wi-Fi of the Phoenix 10 here in unit. Well, I won't tell you exactly what unit we're in case, I don't know.
Got a stalker there.
Yeah, or something like that. But yeah, whatever.
Well, guys, we do appreciate you tuning in. We also do ask that you please leave us a rating and a review. Y'all did great. And we got up to 51. But I was going to tell Bobby Lee this too. We are getting several times that amount just in listens on Apple Podcasts. Like I can look at the statistics and we're getting significantly more than that. I mean, significantly more than that on Apple Podcasts. So like if every one of you listening would just go and hit the 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, we would skyrocket past our goal of 100 by September. What do we say? September 30th?
Yeah, I think that's what we said. Yep. And which, again, like we mentioned either last week or the week before, we're going to put together a prize pack. We're going to figure out a way to identify a winner. But it's going to be somebody who has left a rating and a review. Our hats will be in. I think my wife said by the time we get home, we'll have hats. The prize pack is going to be something better than just a hat. But rest assured, there will be a hat in there.
Dude, I'm gonna pull some big strings. There's gonna be some major. There's gonna be a major product in this giveaway. But
we get to 100 reviews by September 30th. We're gonna figure out a way. People can. I don't know. You're better on that as far as how they can reach out to us to let us know they've left a rating or review. But we'll pick someone who has done those things, and somebody's going to win a prize pack.
Yeah.
So one of you out there listening right now is going to win a hellacious prize pack.
Yeah, you're going to win Bobby Lee's John Deere tractor.
That's interesting because I actually had a phone call today. I've got a gentleman. He was ready to come by it today. I was like, whoa, wait a second. I was like, I'm not there. And I talked to this guy. I guess he called me yesterday. and I get calls about it all the time because I've got it listed on all the typical websites, Tractor House, Facebook Marketplace, that kind of crap. And,
Yeah.
and some of them are just total tire kickers. But did I mention a story here on here where the guy called me and he was asking, he was like, "Is this the Hurricane Creek Farms from YouTube?"
Yeah.
Did I mention that?
No,
last
you
week?
told me off air, but you had not told the listeners.
Yeah, well, he called me, and I mean, great. Bubba was his name. He was. We had a long conversation, but I'm pretty sure he just called me because he saw it, and he's like, "I think that's the Hurricane Creek Farm from YouTube." I don't know that he was super interested actually in the tractor, but
which is cool.
No, it was an awesome conversation with him. It was kind of just like, that's why I do YouTube, because he was like, "Man, I've learned so much." It was a good, wholesome conversation. But I get not a lot of calls like that specifically, but calls, tire kickers,
Yeah.
You can tell it's not going anywhere. This guy called, they're not too terribly far away from us yesterday. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I talked to him about the tractor. He's like, all right, yeah, sounds good. It's like, I'll get back with you. I'm like, okay. I'm like, man, it's toss up with an idea. Will. He calls me this morning. He's like, "Give me your address." I'm like, all right. It's like, what? It's like, he said, "How would you like to be paid?" And I was like, "Oh, this is going good." He's like, all right. I said, "When are you planning on coming?" He's like, "Well, if we leave right now, we can be there." I was like, whoa. I was like, wait a second. I was like, "I'm sorry." I was like, "I'm out of town." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And I'm afraid, you know how it is when you're getting ready to buy something and then something
then you
makes
get time to think about it.
Yeah, you have that impulse to buy, it goes away. But when the timing's right, it'll be right.
Oh yeah.
I've said it several times. Like, I'm not like I would love to sell the tractor. I'm not like desperately in need of selling it. But yeah, that's a long way of me saying I might not have a John Deere tractor to give away by the time the giveaway comes around. Yeah, so y'all better get those reviews in quickly if you want to win my John Deere.
If you want to win that tractor. All right. Well, one of the things I told Bobby Lee we needed to do this episode. So, we tell everybody to go follow our Instagram, but we also do have a Facebook page, and it's just, you could search Talk Dirt to Me and you'll find it. Well, one of these videos is really, I guess in terms of like internet viral, it's gone viral. And I'll play the clip just to refresh everything. Okay, and it's on my Bluetooth here. So I'll play this clip so everyone knows what we're talking about, and so you'll have a reference. And then I got to read you some comments, and we'll get your remarks on them.
Because this is my first time hearing any of this.
Yeah, we have caught. This is new to Bobby Lee. All right, here you go.
Excellent mama cow. But if you're just breeding like we were,
hold on,
half your calves.
I need to figure out. I can't figure out how to rewind it. Let me see.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, let's see if this
exact color combination with that.
All right, we'll try this now. Here we go.
Can't simply. It'd be nice if I could go out there and be like, yeah, even these bull calves.
It did not start over.
I need heifer.
So we'll wait just a second, and then I'll click it. It's playing through, because this clip, for reference for everybody, this clip's got 87,000 views. Man, I'm pretty pumped to see that. All right, it's about to be ready. Yeah, we'll let this play. You guys listen, and then we'll get y'all's thoughts on, or get Bobby Lee's input. All right, here we go.
Heifer is very desirable in the South. Excellent mama cow. But if you're just breeding like we were, half your calves, newsflash, are males. They can't simply. It'd be nice if I could go out there and be like, yeah, even these bull calves identify as heifers. I need heifer price.
Maybe you should try that now.
But the bull calves aren't worth much, because what are you going to do with it? Some people will use a Brayford bull, but that's going to be a very, very small market. You need to sell those, just a feeder calf. Well, like we just said, they need to be black when you sell them. These calves aren't black; they're usually tiger stripe, which is even more exotic. It's even more, off the wall. You take a absolute beating if you run those calves just through a regular auction.
All right. So there was the clip. Now,
okay. Spoiler: I couldn't hear any of that.
You couldn't hear it?
I couldn't hear it.
Okay, it was.
So I'm still as much in the dark as I was.
Oh, dang. Okay. Well, it's dang. All right. Well, it's paired up on the board. Since I played it through my phone, it played.
So our listeners will be able to hear it, but I still am in the dark.
Yes, it's on. It was on the heifers and the how they have the males, and it says when you take the males to the market, you take a beating on the bull calves.
Okay, talking about the Brayfords.
Yeah, it says
when I was crossing my Hereford cows with the Brahma bull. Yeah, okay, I remember us having that little conversation.
Yeah. So the first comment said, "This guy is off. A steer will outsell a heifer 99% of the time."
Okay. And dude is 100% correct, except he's missing the context of our conversation. And that we were specifically talking about that cross between the Brahma bull and the Hereford cows.
Yeah.
Now he's totally right. Like if you're taking, and I would even say if you took a bunch of those crosses to just a regular market, the steers may still outsell the heifers. But when you're selling those heifers, when you have that Brayford cross, you're not selling them through a livestock auction or not a weekly auction, typical of, just a sale barn. You might sell them through a specific bred heifer sale. But now you're marketing those heifers very, very, very targeted marketing to a group that wants to buy them, and they are very desirable. So what I would say, and we run into this also on Instagram. So basically, how long are those clips that usually get shared? 15 to 30 seconds, something like that.
Yeah.
And so anytime we get a negative comment on there, it's always somebody who we're like, I always have to point out, like, look, dude, or gal, usually it's a dude though. This is a 15-second excerpt from an hour-long conversation on a podcast we had. Like, and full disclosure, it's not you or I really editing that. We've got a group that helps us do some of the marketing on that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so they're just trying to grab something that's very interesting, and they do a very good job of it. But yeah, you don't have a very nuanced conversation in 30 seconds.
No, well, that's like the one we just.
It's meant to be a teaser for you to be like, oh yeah, that sounds really interesting, or oh, I totally disagree with that, or whatever. I got to listen to the full thing.
Yeah. Well, people don't, and a lot of people don't get that. I mean, we just saw that on one of our recent clips where I was talking about the steak and eggs. And that guy commented and was like, never finish a thought or something. And it's like, this is a snippet of the conversation, like go listen to the show. So the comment beneath that guy says he's 100% correct. Listen closely to what he's saying. And several people liked it. So the next said, I think he's comparing the price for selling the heifers as replacement females against the price for selling the bulls/steers as feeders. Replacement females should bring more than feeders. Is that right?
Yeah. I've got it pulled up on Facebook now. And, now that dude's exactly right. Like he nailed it. Like he gets it. The whole thing is those heifers make excellent mama cows. And there's really nothing wrong with the steers, the bulls as feeders. They're just not what, the big mainstream cattle feeders are looking for. They're looking for a black steer.
Yeah.
Black, primarily black or black white face.
Yeah. And that dude here, I don't know if he listens, but this Milton, I'm sorry, Milton, if you listen, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Milton Capdebosque. He said, yup, the Angus Association has spent so much on marketing. That is all they want now. Black-hided cattle get top price, period. So it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I really appreciate Milton's response. I'm looking at that too. Milton, I don't know what the hell's going on with your last name.
Hey, Kaylin your wife had been on here already. Or are you on it?
No, that's me.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I don't even have a Facebook page, but I've got her Facebook account on my phone, so I can like run our farm Facebook page, which update once every like 18 to 24 months.
Gotcha. You need to go on there and talk shit to Roy. No,
I mean, look, people. That's one thing I've always had to remind myself with Facebook or really more for me, Instagram or YouTube, like. Because you read every comment, especially a negative one, you feel attacked, kind of. And you're like, man, is this person an expert? And the reality is, maybe they are somebody really knowledgeable, but more than likely, they're somebody that has no clue. And, I was telling you, I was going back with somebody on Instagram, and this exact same situation. It was like a 15-second clip. Now, these guys don't know what they're talking about. And I went back and forth with him for most of an afternoon. I think I finally had him, where he was like, maybe I was totally wrong. And then, I finally click on the guy's profile, and I'm like, and again, not that you can figure out everything about somebody from a profile, but it was like, oh, Lord, was I really arguing with this guy? In my mind, I was picturing him as some agricultural expert, an industry expert that, I really should respect. I was really trying to convince him. And then, I click on his profile, and I'm like, why didn't I do that to begin with? And I wouldn't have even responded to him.
Yeah.
Totally a dude that lives in his mom's basement with, 18 cats. And I was like, why did I even go there? I should have just let that one go. But,
you threw him a bone, man. You threw him a bone.
I probably wasted 30, 45 minutes of my day, going back and forth with him. But anyway, yeah, that's the beauty of the internet. Internet's great, and it's not so great, but yeah, those clips, we love them. The marketing company we work with, has been doing just fantastic work for us. I know it's getting a lot of traffic, but of course, with a lot of traffic comes, you get the keyboard cowboys that want to, jump in there and, they're just looking for ways to bust your balls and tell you you're wrong.
Oh, and it'll as the show continues to gain steam, it'll only get better. It'll only we'll see that a lot more. That's what because our show, we can get a little, I don't want to, heated's not the right word, but we're extremely unpolitically correct. And that's what my marketer was like, man, he said, just be prepared, because he said, it's going to come. He said, your show is growing. He said, so as y'all continue to grow it and it gets bigger, he said, the exposure, he said, he said, don't be shocked if people don't make TikToks about some of the stuff y'all say. So yeah, it's coming, but
hell, I hope I do. I mean,
I said that's great publicity for the show if they do.
Well, the whole mantra, I forget whoever said it, but I think what they said was all publicity is good publicity.
Yep.
Especially for something like we're doing, we're just trying to get our name out there. We're still tiny, in the grand scheme of things. And so, yeah, somebody, I think Clay Travis, which I reference him probably more than I should, but he always said, Larry, if somebody hates what you're saying and they go out and tell 10 people, well, of the 10 people they tell, 8 of them are very likely to actually agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then you just picked up 8 new followers from somebody talking about how much they hate you. So your haters are sometimes your biggest fan.
Oh,
or your biggest drivers.
Yeah.
And so, that's, the worst thing you can be is something that nobody cares anything about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you're not saying anything, that's the whole, goes back to, if you're trying to make content that appeals to everybody, you're not making content for anybody. You gotta find your niche and go with it.
Yep, for sure. Well, I want to jump to a listener question. We had a guy write in here, and it's pretty interesting because this has actually been on my mind. Eli York writes in, and he said, with this brutal heat and humidity this summer, how do y'all go about dealing with it? Here in Georgia, where our farm is, working outside, I get drenched in sweat within minutes, working on something and sweat all day long. if it's a 10-hour day, especially, it just leaves you feeling exhausted when you go home and you sleep like a rock. So I'll tell you what I do, and then I'll let you.
Yeah, that sounds like yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I want to say is just yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's what this has been on my mind a little bit. Well, obviously, because it's felt like, I imagine if I pictured the temperature around Satan's nutsack, it's like similar to what I feel like it's felt like here lately. And, dude, some of the days where we've been working, like if I've been out, I was spraying in some of the hottest days. And, I mentioned on here my help had abandoned me. So I was by myself and I was having to put
ingrown toenail, right?
Yes. Yeah. That had him out of commission for he couldn't do anything. So, I was having to load over 50 gallons of chemical in a tank by myself. Yeah. And it was like 115 heat index. And, to start the morning off, you have to load up the water trailer. So you literally go out first thing in the morning, you fill up the water trailer, load it up, and you're drenched in sweat. So you are drenched in sweat from the moment the day begins. And people see you in the sprayers and they're like, man, look at these farmers with their air conditioned cabs. And, which we've talked about the cab thing, but especially a sprayer too. Like you can't open them, one, cause you're spraying, but my sprayer was struggling, man. Like it was struggling probably worse than my tractor. Like I was very uncomfortable in the sprayer. And then I get out and it takes about 40 minutes almost for me to to fill up and all that. And get drenched in sweat again, get in the sprayer, so it's just this cycle. Man, honestly, I'm just drenched in sweat all day. And then I get home at the end of the day and I'm like exhausted is not even the right word. Like I'm zapped, man. Like I've told my wife, I'm like, the heat, it sucks the energy and it sucks the life out of you. Like, when I get home after those days, my ass is kicked. And so I don't have a good way of dealing with that, but I will say this is where I was going to go with it though. The guy that helps Dad, he's a cowboy and, he always wears a long sleeve button up shirt. And I told him one day, I was like, man, don't you burn up in that long sleeve shirt? And he said, no, because he also wears an undershirt under his button up shirt. And I was like, man, how do you not burn up? And he said, dude, I bet I'm cooler than you in this long sleeve shirt than you are in short sleeves. And I said, man, there's no way. And he said, he dealt with some Mexican roofers or something one time, and all of them wore long sleeve shirts. And, obviously it does keep the sunlight off of you. But he said, I think, if I'm understanding the theory right, you do sweat and then the sleeves and the shirt get wet. Well, then the wind, he was like, it kind of cools you down. So I've been thinking about trying that. The hard part for me is I've got a killer farmer's tan. My arms are black almost. And so I hate to give that up because then I'll just be like a ghost walking around if I start wearing a long sleeve shirt. So that's what I'm thinking. But as far as beating the heat, man, I really don't have a method besides just the heat usually beats my ass.
Well, first of all, anybody from the South knows you got to start off by saying
it ain't the heat.
The heat. It's the humidity.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like you learn that. That's like some of the first words you learn at birth when you're born in the South.
Yeah.
It ain't the heat. It's the humidity. You just want to punch people in the face when they say stuff like that.
Yes.
but we all say it. You're like, God dang, it's hot. And somebody's like, but man, it ain't the heat. It's the humidity. I'm like, all right, whatever. But anyway, But I would say go watch my YouTube video from this past Saturday. That was kind of one of my themes, other than the fact that I knew it wasn't going to rain, was that it was I nearly had a heat stroke, I think.
Yeah.
and I was doing some stuff that really didn't have to be done, but I was trying to get it done. And man, it's just, and part of me is like, because we do. I mean, like this last winter was a great example. Like we do occasionally get just brutal cold. We're kind of in that in between. Now we don't typically have sustained like super cold temperatures, but it's funny. There's actually back to softball tournament and being down here. There's a family that is from West Tennessee that we used to play softball with that moved down here. And because they knew we were down here playing, they came to see us. And we're all talking. We're like, oh, how is it? And they're like, oh, we love it down here. They basically live at the beach. And we're like, but it is really hot. And I just kind of laughed. I was like, I promise you, it ain't no hotter here than it is at home.
Yeah.
So I mean, in the grand scheme of things, at least y'all didn't have to deal with, negative temperatures 2 days before Christmas like we did.
Yeah. Yeah. I figured you told them it ain't the heat, it's the humidity.
Well, and they know it's the same thing down here, but yeah. But literally, she was like, "Yes, it is hot." I was like, "Look," "I'm going to tell you, I think it might have been hotter at home than it is here."
Well, we've talked about on here, that was one of the things when I was at Winter Strong in South Carolina. This was in February, and it was rainy, and it was not brutally cold. It was like in the 30s, 30s and 40s or something. And there was some people from Montana, and it was, I don't remember exactly which part of Montana, but they experienced some of the Montana winter, and they were cold. Like, they were really cold. And I said something to them. I was like, I can't believe y'all are cold being from Montana. And they were like, yeah, but it's wet here. They were like, this wet cold is awful. And so I guess I should have said, well, it ain't the cold, it's the humidity.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Like, I've actually, the same thing. I've run into, we had some guys in from Montana one time that were picking up some horses, and we were writing health certificates for them. And it was, whenever they were here, it was really cold for us. And we were like, joking, we're like, yeah, I bet you this don't even bother y'all. And they were like, no. They're like, y'all's cold is different. Like, it's a wet cold. They're like, we get, like, the thermometer reads lower, but it's dry air. And so, yeah, it's the same thing. I was like, oh, really? I was like, basically, here in the Mid-South, we're the toughest SOBs around.
That's what I was going to say. It makes you be like, well, we're the toughest sons of bitches there are out here.
We're just a rare breed. We can handle the humidity and the heat and the cold.
Yeah, this whole, and I was actually trying to think to myself, what region, and then it felt weird to describe it, because I was going to say, because if you go deep south, they don't have the winters. So I was kind of like, we're like the Middle East, but I feel weird calling us the Middle East.
Right. Well, and a lot of it, it's just what you're used to. I think we discussed last week how we had the storms that had gone through and the power had been out. Or was that even? No, I'm trying to even. My days are so messed up. But my brother had been without power. They went without power for 5 days.
Yeah.
There were straight line winds that went through Shelby County. And of course, obviously they didn't have any air conditioning. He had a little generator, but it was just enough to run, their freezers, keep their, food from spoiling. And I think they ran a couple of box fans, And I was like, look, in the grand scheme of things, humans have existed for, depending on who you want to listen to, at least tens of thousands of years. And we've only had air conditioning for what, 100, a little over 100. I don't even know when air conditioning was actually invented. But anyway, I was like, we're just not used to this. And that's the whole thing. People who get out and work in this type of temperature all the time, they can survive it. It ain't no big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you, It's just like how we would have trouble probably surviving a Montana winter. A Montanan would have a hell of a time surviving a Mid-South summer.
Oh, well, I tell you that one dude that one of my buddies there that lives in Idaho, and he all the time is talking shit about us, especially in the winter. He'll be like
driving on the snow.
Yeah. He'd be like, man, I don't know how you guys can't drive in the snow and all this. And I'm like, come down here in the summer and your ass will die. I'm like, you won't be able to hang. Like, you can say what you want to say, but you won't be able to hang.
No, you're just not used to it. I mean, which we were under heat advisories. I'm trying to think. Again, I've been out of town. But basically, you go back a week ago and through last weekend, like, it was heat advisories every day.
Yeah.
And I was joking with somebody. It was actually a guy, a gentleman, came and looked at my tractor. We were talking about how hot it was. I was like, it's like I just turned 40. I was like, it seems like there's something about it. Like, because it's always been hot here. Like, this ain't like a record summer or anything. It's just usual. I was like, I grew up playing football. We practicing in this heat, handling hay by hand. Like, there's a point in time every summer where you're like, damn, it's hot.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of days last week where I was like, all right, this shit is miserable. Like I'm considering, like, if I didn't have a life well established here in farmland and everything, like, I might want to move somewhere else. Like, I don't know if it's just the fact that I turned 40 and I can't handle it anymore, but they're like, oh, and these two gentlemen are both a little older. They're like, it only gets worse, man.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
No, it ain't that
like,
you're 40.
About turning 40.
It ain't that you're 40, because I was exactly the same way. I put a status up on Facebook one of those days, and I said, occasionally I find myself questioning why I choose to live where I live. And I said, days like today where I'm drenched in sweat from the moment I walk outside are one of those days. And like,
I had to take a phone call one day last week when I was at the vet office. It wasn't like a super sensitive phone call, but I needed to be on my cell phone, and it's loud. So I just walked outside, like out into our parking lot. And it's like shaded out back. But it was, 3 or 4 o'clock one afternoon, in the heat of the day. And like, I was probably on the phone for 15 minutes. And when I walked back in, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, there wasn't a dry piece of clothing on me. And I was just like, that is insane. I mean, I was just standing out there with the phone up my ear and in the shade.
Yeah.
I was like, good grief. Like, this is.
Oh, when I would get back in the sprayer after I filled up, I could feel my heartbeat in my head.
Yeah.
I wear a watch, this watch, the Garmin watch. It tells me my heart rate and all that stuff. And which, I mean, if you're moving a whole bunch, I don't know how accurate they actually are, but at one point, which again, I'm having to load a bunch of chemical, but I was loading this chemical up and I was trying to do it pretty quickly. One, just so I could hurry up and get back out of the sun. But by doing that and in the peak of the day, I looked down, my heart rate was like 135. And I was like, good gosh. And which that's what I told when I got back later on. I was telling Dad, I was like, man, I was cussing, not having somebody helping me. And Dad goes, well, your help would have died. He said, don't be mad. Because he said, I promise you, he would have had a heart attack. And so I was like, well, you're probably right. And so, yeah, it's brutal. And I don't know, which Dad has said he can't handle the cold like he used to could. He's told me that. He's like, as he's gotten older, he said the cold hurts him a lot worse than it used to. I mean, because used to, like, especially duck hunting. He loved duck hunting. And he was like, man, he said, now it hurts. He said, that cold hurts. And the cold don't bother me as much as the heat. That heat, man, yeah that heat is brutal.
Well, I'm still like a little bit weird. Like, I try to play mind games with myself where like the extremes, like I want to prove how tough I am to an extent.
Yeah.
That's where like, like running and working out, which I've tried to get a little more back into running here. Well, turning 40, I ran 40 miles last month, which is not a lot in the grand scheme of things in a month's time. But even out here at the beach, I've been running. I hadn't run every morning. We've been here by any means, but something about, and I'll tell anybody, like, if I want to run, I can get a good time, which I'm far beyond, like, trying to set records or anything. About 40 degrees is optimum running temperature. There's something about running when it's this hot, and when you're done, you're just dripping wet with sweat. You feel like you've accomplished more.
Yeah.
Then when you're running and it's 40 degrees, and yeah, you've got a little sheen of sweat on you, but you ran a really good time, but you're not just dripping wet, for 30 minutes after you're done running. And I don't know, you feel a little more accomplished when you get done on mornings like we got right now, and it's just like, man, you're just drenched. You feel like, well, yeah, now I can go eat my body weight in seafood, later on today and not feel bad about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think part of this too, like a lot of people be like, it's just too damn hot, and wouldn't do it. So, I mean.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's kind of the thing. And you see a lot of people, of course, social media brings us out people, and I'm guilty of it too, where, like when we had that temperature, or that deep freeze, winter storm right there at Christmas, and, you take a picture of the truck, reading -1 on the thermometer, and, you're out there filming for YouTube or taking pictures, because, yeah, it's actual temperature is -1 and wind chills are -15, and you're out there, before daylight, take care of chores. There's just something, there's a lot of pride in doing that.
Well, it's like we've talked about.
I'm tougher than all you other SOBs.
Yeah.
That are curled up in bed and worried about, I can't get to the store today to get a loaf of bread.
Yeah. Well, it's like we said with chewing tobacco, man. It's something about putting a chew in that, makes you feel like a rugged American man.
Oh, dude, that's what you put chewing on those mornings. You're just like, you're Jeremiah Johnson out there.
Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah. Did you have any other in the ag world? We didn't have a whole lot on that, which again, we're somewhat out of our element. In this one.
We're a little out of pocket. I had kind of done a little bit of research in the last day or two to see if there was anything really in the news, which of course it's a little bit of an odd week. A lot of the markets, are a little off, being a holiday week. I did see where that pretty much everybody's reporting that the recent rains through the Midwest hadn't done much at all for the corn crop. I think the basic statistics are 65 to 70% of the corn acres are still in a drought. So I'll be good for corn prices. I hadn't even I did check cattle prices today and saw that the cattle market is really taking a little bit of a tumble. So I assume that means corn prices are up.
Well, I need to look then, because I have not. Let's see. I get the text. They had sent a little report earlier. Says with the drier. Well, the report didn't even finish. See, this today from CGB. It says with the drier areas receiving great rains the past week and 2 million more acres of corn. See, I think from that, they didn't finish what they were saying, but it sounds like they're saying with the rains, and apparently there's an additional corn acres that I guess they weren't expecting. So I don't know, man. Corn did bump up. This morning it was 446, and right now it's 454. So it did jump up a little bit. Beans are down. They went from 318 to 1299. So, man, I haven't even hardly been looking because I'm kind of annoyed.
Well, you're right, because, you're right. It's almost, playing the weather market is kind of a fool's errand, to try to, every day, like let's say you don't even necessarily need the rain. You just need the rain in the forecast, and it'll make the market move.
Yeah, it's stupid how volatile it is.
But yeah, here was an article from today in AgWeb, and I did not read the article, full disclosure. But the title of it is Midwest Rains, Not Enough to Break Long-Term Drought. 67% of corn still rooted in drought.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, that should keep driving the prices.
Depends on who you listen to. But, yeah, I mean, it's, they could get big rains here over the next 10 days or so, and then all of a sudden, it's the biggest crop, ever.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I did want to tell one thing that was pretty wild, and I saw somebody had shared this on like Instagram, and so I had pulled it up. And this is one of those things, I've mentioned before, I am fascinated by the whole regenerative ag thing. Like, I've talked about that. Like, it's, it might be kind of hippie-ish, which I'm okay with some hippie stuff. But it made me think even more about it, because around a percentage, I'll ask you, I'm curious your thought or what you think here. Without Googling, what percent of the food in the United States is wasted like every year?
Man, this is a big one. I listen to, and I know you follow them. I don't know if you listen to the podcast. Discover Ag with
Tara.
Natalie, Natalie and Tara. It's like 40%.
Yep, 30 to 40%. It's crazy, man. In one day, this is the daily amount was what blew my mind. 330 million pounds of food is wasted every day in the United States. That is ungodly.
Which part of me is like, all right, what do they mean by wasted? I'm kind of wanting to split hair and get into semantics there. But I'm amazed at how many people, because like I'm sure your family's like, man, when you cook dinner, you don't eat every single morsel of it, right?
Yeah.
You have leftovers. But I know people are like, because pretty much like we eat lunch, or we eat leftovers for lunch most days. I'm fortunate I can go home most days for lunch. I can heat it up. My wife works from home. I feel like, and of course, we eventually, some stuff gets left in the fridge, it gets pushed back, you forget about it. There's wasn't that good to begin with, and so nobody wants to eat it as leftovers, kind of thing. And so you end up throwing some food out, eventually. But we have, and we keep a whiteboard on our refrigerator, one, of our menu for the week, so we know like we're planning out what we're going to eat, and then two, so then you can go back and look and be like, oh yeah, we had spaghetti on Monday.
Yeah,
there's still some of that left over or whatever. But even with that, we throw some stuff away. But I know some people that I talk to, and they're like, oh no, we don't eat leftovers. Like pretty much, like if they don't eat it when it's cooked, they throw it out. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, unless you're just super accurate in knowing exactly how much to cook and you're going to eat. Like, I mean, some nights, like, we eat the hell out of some stuff. I'm like, well, damn, there ain't even no leftovers boxed up. But that's not very common. Most nights, the kids don't really eat, or hell, my wife's is probably worse than the kids were. She's like, yeah, I'm just not that hungry tonight. And, she doesn't even eat. And I'm like, God dang, I'm going to be eating these leftovers for the next 3 or 4 days. Just try to get rid of them. But that's always, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like that's always one of our struggles. I'm like, and every now and then we'll get to like Thursday night, and I'll be like, all right, we ain't cooking nothing tonight. We're gonna eat leftovers because we got way too many leftovers. Well,
that's what it's. It's crazy here in the state. Like this right here says over 240 million slices of bread are thrown away every year. That's the most wasted food type in the U.S. is bread. And then it says it is followed by milk. It says 5.9 million glasses, or nearly 20% of the total amount produced, is poured down the sink. So,
and then again, I just talked about how much we try not to waste anything. But part of me, like playing kind of devil's advocate, says, okay, well, what if we immediately, what's that, up to 40% is wasted?
yeah.
What if we immediately got to where we had zero waste? Like we could snap our fingers and magically say, we don't waste anything. All of a sudden, the demand is going to drop by 40%. So that would just wreck a lot of our markets. And so I'm like, well, gosh,
And I almost think that would be good, though. I mean, I think that would correct course a little bit, because there is a part of me, we're in this. I mean, what we've talked about, like the big, like if we could remove the protection of something, like,
well, and I feel bad, like we just mentioned the dairy folks, and like I'm not in dairy. I've never been in dairy. We don't even have any people in our immediate area in dairy. I know a few people, loosely in that industry, and man, they have got it tough.
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden, like you eliminated all milk waste, and so then the demand for their product dropped that much. Like, man, that's gonna just kill them. And so I don't know. I look at it too from the other side of like, okay, nothing happens in a vacuum. Like it is wasted, and that is, especially when you think about, of course I use this line with my kids, probably just like you do, where like they're starving kids, You used to always want to say they're starving kids in Africa. I'm like, well, hell, they're starving kids in this country.
Yeah,
that would kill to have, and usually me and my wife, we try to cook something, pretty darn good every night. Like, well, this is crazy. Like, we're cooking you this nice, relatively fancy meal, and then it's just a hamburger helper we're throwing out.
Yeah,
and no offense to Hamburger Helper if they want to sponsor the podcast, but and y'all are turning your nose up at it. And there's literally kids, hell, not even just in this country, right there at home in the county, that go to bed hungry at night.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
What I think, what I would wonder is, all right, let's say that the supply was cut back. Like they were like, okay, we're overproducing because we're wasting. So let's just say we're overproducing 40%. So we're going to dial.
Right, but we don't do a good job of getting that excess to the people who need it. We never have been.
No. But let's say we did cut that 40% out. The one a good thing that I feel like it would do would make people appreciate what they got more, because right now, if there's an abundance of like milk, you can go to the store and you can buy more. And if you waste it, it is what it is. But like, if you went to the store and they're like, well, we only get 31 gallon jugs of milk a month, or like whatever, a week, and we're sold out, then somebody would get that and they would not waste that milk. And so that'd be the one good thing from that standpoint. It would make people, I feel like, utilize what they had, because they would then appreciate it. But I do think, it does just, I guess it kind of goes to the privilege of the country in the sense that, like, we really never need, there are people that need, like you said, there are hungry people, but for the most part, the majority of people in the United States, they don't really need for hardly anything.
Yeah, there's just a huge separation, and there always has been. It's a totally different conversation for a different day of the haves and the have-nots. Like,
yeah,
we don't do a good job of getting the excess product to people who need it. But then, part of me says, basic economics, we quit wasting, and so then we cut down on the supply. The whole supply and demand. Are we really doing a better job? And so, right, I'm sitting here telling you, like, I'm like a Nazi when it comes to not wasting food. like we go to a restaurant, we get the to-go box, and whatnot, right. And then, about 30% of the time, my wife leaves it in the car.
I was gonna say,
And
forget it.
And then the next morning, I'm like, they just sit on the counter. I'm just like physically ill over the fact that we wasted, a box of leftovers. Partially because I just wanted to eat them for lunch, because they're gonna be good. But partially because, like, that poor animal died so that we could eat it, and here we are not eating it. But anyway,
dude, I did that on the 4th.
We're right on the milk because, like, I'm sure your kids are the same way. My kids drink a lot of milk. But
yeah, we don't waste milk.
One of mine did it tonight. We were sitting here. Actually, I brought some beef from home. We had Hurricane Creek Farm burgers down here on the beach.
Nice.
But we knew we were going to have a late day playing softball. We're like, we'll just stay in at night. So we'll cook some burgers. Anyway, my daughter had finished her burger. She's like, I want some more milk. So I poured another glass of milk. She takes like one sip of it and gets up and leaves. I had to call her back inside. I was like, come in here and you finish this milk. But we, most nights at my house, when we're at home, we end up with cups of milk put back in their fridge for them to finish the next morning.
That's what we do.
Didn't finish the milk.
Yeah, we do that. We'll, like, if they have some left, we'll be like, we'll just stick it in the fridge.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say that between mine and your household, our waste is probably 10% or less.
Yeah, I think so.
We do a much better job than the average American household.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what the best leftover to me, one of my favorite is, and this is what I had for lunch today, is taco meat. Man, I like last night, Marcy, she was like, what do you want for dinner? And I said, let's just have some tacos. And I devour that. And then I love it because I'm like pumped because then I'm looking forward to lunch the next day. And so that's what today I just made me a big taco salad and finished off the
I'll
taco
do that.
meat.
Or what I'll do, I'll tell you, breakfast. I'll take that taco meat. Of course, it's in the fridge in a Tupperware. I'll get out however much I want, and I'll put it in a skillet and just put it in there just long enough to warm it up. Then I'll take my eggs that I've got scrambled in my bowl, and I'll dump that in there with that meat that I've already got warmed up and cook those eggs till they're done. So it's kind of the egg taco meat mixture.
Yeah.
Slap that stuff in a tortilla with whatever your favorite topping is, whether it's some salsa or, tiger sauce or whatever. And man, that makes for a hellaciously good breakfast burrito.
I can imagine it would.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. Well, man, since you're on the phone, can you queue up the Commander-in-Chief?
I'm going to see if I can. Could you hear that?
No, I could not.
Okay. Well, let me do my best. Let me start off with 2 words for you. Made in America. And my son did not bring that cocaine into the White House.
I was going to say,
get that out there.
Yeah, what about the cocaine? Hold on here.
The latest I've heard on that is that now they're saying it was in like a highly secured area at the White House. I'm like, this just gets even more and more incriminating.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Is everybody sharing those videos of like Hunter, like he's clearly coked out? Like, okay. I saw somebody shared a meme or said, this would be like if the Hamburglar was in the White House and all of a sudden they had a bunch of hamburgers go missing. And they were like, and then the Secret Service was like, we have no idea where the hamburgers went. And the Hamburglar standing right there next to him. The president's son is a known cokehead. He was at the White House on the 4th of July. We found cocaine, and we have no idea where the cocaine came from. Like, come on, guys. I literally, it's one of those moments from like, they're just screwing with us. They're just trying to see how much they can get away with.
Yeah. No, I'm like that. I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, there's no freaking way that they actually, I don't know. Yeah, it's.
I can't believe that it even got out that there was cocaine. Like, how does that even get out? Like, I'm sure they've been like, hey, Joe, we found some cocaine. Do you want us to give it to the press? hell no, flush that shit down the toilet or it squashed. Like, how does that story even get out? Like that's like, I mean, I would imagine every time Hunter's in the White House, you could come out with that story and like why they decided to do it.
Well,
but anyway,
that video of him up on the balcony, yeah, he looks like he's definitely.
I can sit here and say right now, I've never done cocaine, so I don't totally know what somebody looks like when they're coked out. But if I was like casting or directing a movie, and I was like, all right, I need you to act like you're on cocaine. I'd be like, act like that guy. Like whatever he just did, act like that.
Yeah, I'll do that. I agree.
But,
well, the company I got a company for us, and I'm sure everybody's heard of it, but I feel like it's relevant right now, and that's Bluebell ice cream, man. And I know some people they had that little fiasco happen a few years back, but I have eaten quite a bit of Bluebell ice cream since that time, and I'm still good. Do you eat much Bluebell?
We do. We've had some Bluebell. I'm trying to think. My kids, I'm embarrassed. It was a blueberry cobbler ice cream. Blackberry. Misspoke. Blackberry cobbler. I'm like, nothing better. Of course, we have wild blackberries growing everywhere. Blackberry cobbler is awesome. They had a blackberry cobbler ice cream. I grabbed it. My kids were like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, this is awesome. But no, I love Bluebell. I believe they're out of Texas.
Yep, Brenham, Texas. Yeah. And they were started in 1907. So super old American company. And I'm a sucker for just the homemade vanilla. But I had to give.
Oh, if I'm eating like a chocolate chip cookie or a brownie, yes, you're damn right.
Yeah.
Plain old vanilla.
It's awesome. But I had to give it to them because did you see what those commie sons of bitches at Ben and Jerry's did?
I did. But Ben and Jerry's has always been like that. Like I don't know that I've ever eaten their ice cream. They've always been way out there.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah, they're raging.
They're raging woke. They're everything you don't want in any kind of company. But yeah,
yeah.
I figured when you said Bluebell, I was like, yeah, this is an anti Ben and Jerry's company.
Yeah.
Now Ben and Jerry's sucks. Like, that's one company that, I would strongly encourage anybody. Like, do not. Yeah. There's too many other good companies out there. Steer yourself away from them. Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of been one of my frustrations is these people. There's a lot of people that still think it's silly to not just buy whatever's normal. Like I had that happen recently. We actually were talking about Bud Light. We were with the group of people and, somebody mentioned Bud Light, or they were drinking. Somebody mentioned a beer, and one of the other guys there goes, "Yeah, don't be drinking no Bud Light." And I said, "Yeah, you can't have that." Well, one of the guys said, "Man, I don't give a crap about that. I'll still drink Bud Light," and that frustrates me a little bit because I'm like, man,
he's in a minority at this point in time. I'll go ahead and. That.
Yeah, I think so. I do even I don't know if you've noticed, I will look when I go up here to our local store, Nafy's, our grocery store. I'll go in and I'll get me like some Coors Light, and I'll kind of look over there, and there's always plenty of Bud Light. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Oh yeah. I take inventory of that anywhere I go. I'm sitting here as we speak. I have a Yingling Golden Ale in my hand.
Isn't Yingling owned by Anheuser-Busch?
I don't know. Yingling, I need to go look and see exactly. Yingling is the oldest brewed beer in America.
Really?
But you got to be careful. Like, because I know people are like, yeah, you don't drink a Bud Light no more, and they're drinking a Mick Ultra. I'm like, dude, like you ain't got to research that one very deep.
Well, that also happened this weekend. Yes.
I'm like that. That's the easiest one. I was never a big Busch or Bud Light guy, or I hadn't been in a long time. But Bush and Natty were kind of two of my go-tos.
Yeah.
I hadn't bought a single can of either one of them since all that fiasco. I tell you what, when we were in Kentucky for the horse show a couple of weeks ago, we went and ate at a Japanese restaurant, and I'm big on, the kind of win and roam thing. So I ordered one of the Japanese beers. I believe it was Kirin Light. I was like, yeah, bring me one of those. We're at a Japanese place. And I immediately spun the bottle around. Now I'll be damned. I got Gator just sitting there.
Oh, man. Anheuser-Busch.
Bottled under Kirin supervision by Anheuser-Busch. I was like, damn it, effort. I was like, God dang. I was like, well, they've already opened it. I wasn't going to go full Kid Rock and pull my sidearm out and shoot the bottle right there on me. I was like, hell, it's already open. I'm going to drink it, I mean,
did you have a Pride shirt on before you left?
My shirt, I felt the rainbow just washing over me. I mean, and it was still June at this time. So
okay,
yeah. Like, well, at least if the shoe fits, wear it, kind of thing. But yeah, you're right about that. I'm actually going to walk. I'm kind of embarrassed to say this. I'm in the bathroom or a condo on the phone because all the kids and the other adults that are staying here with us came back up from the beach and crab hunting. And so I had to come in here for quiet for a minute before I go back out there and rejoin in. So the first thing I'm doing is going to the fridge, grabbing another Yingling and making sure it's not bottled by Anheuser-Busch. But I'm 99.99% sure it's not. I'm pretty sure they're still independent.
Yeah, hopefully so. Well,
yeah.
That's where what helped me was, man, I've always liked Coors Light. And so they're solid.
It's not. I mean, if I get into bed with my wife tonight, I'm just not the same. I'll know that's why.
Yep. Your beer made you a little gay.
I was drinking a gay beer all along.
Yeah. Anheuser-Busch. Uh-oh. What company? No, okay. You might be all right. I think it says here America's oldest brewery has remained fiercely independent, family-owned, and continuously operated by the Yingling family.
Yeah, that's what they were one of the first brands that a lot of people are like, this is one of the brands you need to support in opposition to drinking your Bud Light. Our problem around home is it's hard to find Yingling Light. Like you can find the regular Yingling, like the heavier stuff. A little easier. I'm like, well, yeah, during summertime when it's hotter than hell, I just want a light beer. I need to find the light stuff. And of course, we're down here at the beach. We're going to whatever, which we have made sure to hit up little locally owned grocery stores. But they're a little fancier, got a little wider selection of the brews. So we've been able to find more of those type of things.
Yeah. Well, good deal. Well, all right, man. Well, guys, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Like I said, we don't have video for you on this one. We apologize. We'll be back next week with the regular video for YouTube. But we do ask you, please hit that like button, hit subscribe, and leave us a rating and a review. Because, like I said, we need them to get to 100 by September 30th if you want to win about a 5,000-acre farm. So you need to leave us. We got to have 100 ratings.
Yeah, John Deere tractors, 5,000-acre farm. We just got to get to that 100 reviews.
Yep. So, guys, we appreciate you tuning in. Hope you have a good one.
Yep, we'll talk to y'all next week.